Hi, everybody. Today we'll be learning about the viewpoint credibility spectrum. Like we've talked about before, a spectrum is just a way of organizing ideas so you can compare and contrast them. You can see here we've got our viewpoint credibility spectrum going to the right. So as you move from left to right, the amount of credibility will increase. And we've got 3 points on this spectrum that we'll talk about today, just as sort of like places to certainly see a particular area of credibility. As with other spectrums, you can have blending. You can have things that are in between both, kind of like green is in between yellow and blue. And as we move forward, you want to keep those things in mind. So, the first point on the viewpoint credibility spectrum is propaganda. And of course, that's very biased and usually misleading information used to promote a particular point of view. And as it's all the way over to the left, it's not credible. As we move a little bit further over to the right, you've got bias. And as you've learned, that's information that is prejudiced in favor of one point of view, usually in an unfair way. And as you're kind of moving in between propaganda and bias, anytime you find information you think is there on the credibility spectrum, I really wouldn't use it as a source of information. You might use it as an example of something, but I wouldn't consider it a credible source of information. And then last but not least, as you move more over to the right, you've got the idea of perspective. And that's just simply a particular way of looking at something. It's a point of view. However, just having a point of view, as we've talked about before, doesn't make a source not credible. It does mean that you need to consider how that perspective or that point of view might have shaded the information. It might help you come up with some questions that you need to ask about a source. But simply having a perspective does not make a source not credible. So as we look at sources moving forward, you want to think about where they would land on this viewpoint credibility spectrum and make sure that your sources, maybe they have a perspective, but you don't want them to be biased, or certainly you don't want them to be propaganda.